This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Relief and rescue efforts are in high gear tonight all over the United States to help the victims of Hurricane Katrina. Congress is coming back early from summer recess to approve the administration's request for $10 billion to cover immediate needs. And businesses all across the country are pitching in with supplies and cash to help where they can. But it's going to be a long haul, and Americans are going to have to deal with one key area of fallout: high gasoline prices. We have two reports tonight looking at how energy futures are trading and whether gas price gouging is a threat. We begin with Erica Miller in New York.
It was another intense day of trading in gasoline futures at the New York Mercantile Exchange. Traders reported panicked buying.
This is the most craziest spin since I've been trading for over 15 years.
Wholesale gasoline for October delivery jumped 15 cents to $2.41 a gallon. The rally's cause was clear: continued uncertainty about the impact of Hurricane Katrina.
What's going on here is you've shut down a lot of refineries on the Gulf Coast, and the majority of our gasoline production is from those refineries on the Gulf Coast.
Crude oil futures also rose today despite the government's decision to release emergency petroleum reserves. ExxonMobil is one company that plans to borrow crude from the government's stockpile, 6 million barrels. But experts don't expect that extra supply to be much benefit in bringing down gasoline prices.
We haven't had a new refinery in let's say 20, 30 years. They could deliver us as much crude as possible, but we can't refine it.
That's why AAA said regular unleaded hit a record today, an average of $2.68 a gallon. That's up 18% from a month ago and up 44% from a year ago. But $2.68 sounds like a dream to motorists in many parts of the country, where prices have soared above $3 a gallon. That increase has many people outraged.
It's ridiculous.
But others are taking the price spike in stride.
I'm Italian. It's like $8 a gallon back home.
Some drivers fear the return of long lines and scarcity that were common during the gasoline crises in the 1970s. Analysts don't expect that to happen, and they say prices should peak in the next few weeks.
To get $5, I think you'd have to see oil prices go to $80, $90 a barrel. To see $4 gasoline, I think you have to see more interruptions, more problems, whether it was in the Gulf of Mexico or in the Middle East.
Analysts expect gasoline prices to retreat after electricity is restored to most Gulf Coast pipelines and refineries. Unfortunately, that could take several weeks at least. Erica Miller, Nightly Business Report, New York.
I'm Stephanie Dew. In some parts of the country, prices at the pump seem to be heading higher by the hour. At this station in Georgia, prices topped $6 a gallon. Those kinds of spikes have states around the country investigating complaints of price gouging. Florida Attorney General Charlie Crist issued subpoenas to oil wholesalers who jacked up prices as much as 73 cents a gallon in the past 48 hours.
We have issued the subpoenas today. They have 20 days to get this information back to us about their accounting practices, their pricing procedures, and whether there is a legitimate rationale for why the increase has occurred as extraordinary as it is.
But with serious supply disruptions, gouging can be hard to prove at the wholesale and retail levels.
There certainly is a gray area to see at what point a gasoline retailer who knows, I just have a couple hundred gallons left, I'm not getting another replacement shipment because my branded station is just supplying the people that they're under contract with, to say, I've got to make these 500 gallons last, let me charge more for it.
That gets rough.
The Department of Energy has received over 5,800 complaints of price gouging and will refer some of those to the Federal Trade Commission for investigation. But consumer advocates say it will be difficult to find price gougers.
Two-thirds of the states, or 60% of the states, don't even have laws that would let them define the problem. And even if they found that few people, they would not address the underlying disease.
President Bush says the supply disruptions will be temporary, and he urged Americans to conserve energy.
Americans should be prudent in their use of energy during the course of the next few weeks. Don't buy gas if you don't need it.
News today that the Colonial Pipeline, which supplies much of the East Coast, is back online, may help ease prices at the pump, but it's still only operating at 50% capacity. Stephanie Dew, Nightly Business Report, Washington.
Stocks began the day with modest losses as investors focused on the updates of storm damage. The market grew weaker on news that the level of national manufacturing fell 5.3% in July. The Dow was down 50 points in the late morning, NASDAQ off 7. A drop in longer-term bond yields put stocks briefly into positive ground this afternoon, but those soaring gasoline prices chased buyers away. So the Dow Industrial Average lost 21.97 points at 10,459.63. The NASDAQ Composite was down 4.19, ending at 2147.90. Standard & Poor's 500 gained 1.26 to close at 1221.59. Over in the bond market, the 10-year note fell 5/30 seconds to 101 and 24/30 seconds, lifting the yield to 4.04%.
As the White House mobilized to deal with the damage from Katrina, President Bush met with Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan today and then with his economic team. A short while ago, I talked with Alan Hubbard, the president's national economic advisor, and asked him what was discussed at the Greenspan meeting.
Oh, obviously we talked about Katrina, and we talked about the impact of Katrina, especially on the individual people down there, which the president is so concerned about. And then we talked about the economic impact, and basically talked about the economy in general.
Mr. Hubbard, did Alan Greenspan express any concern about the direction of the economy because of Katrina?
Well, obviously, I don't feel comfortable talking for Alan Greenspan. I think you should speak directly with him. But the chairman feels very good about this economy. We're obviously all very concerned about the people in Louisiana and southern Mississippi and southern Alabama, especially those who have lost loved ones, especially those who have lost their homes, have temporarily lost their jobs, and the president is doing everything he possibly can to assist them and using all the resources of the federal government.
President Bush said today that he sees the disruption in the energy sector as temporary. So how long are Americans going to have to pay $3, $4 a gallon for gasoline? Is it 2 months? Is it 6 months? Is it a year?
Well, obviously, it's impossible for me to tell you where gasoline prices are going to be. It all depends on the market. It all depends on supply. It all depends on demand. What's most important is we deal with the short-term problems that we face. As you know, we lost 3 major pipelines, and I'm happy to report that all 3 are back up. One at 100%, one at 80%, and one at 50%, and they're soon to all be up at 100%. And that's very, very important to achieving gasoline distribution throughout the country to avoid any disruptions, and that's going to happen very, very quickly.
How much of an economic hit will this be for the economy?
Well, obviously, in the short term, it's going to be a hit. New Orleans, southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama are very important to our economy. And so in the third quarter, it will reduce growth by, not an insignificant amount, but the economy will continue to grow above 3%. And in the fourth quarter, it could have some impact, but in the long run, it's not going to have any impact. And in fact, as we rebuild those communities, it will have a positive impact on the economy. And what's most important is to rebuild those communities as quickly as possible so people can return to their homes, return to their jobs, and return to their normal way of life.
Now, President Bush this afternoon urged Americans not to buy gasoline if you don't need it. Is the administration considering any kind of demand rationing if necessary?
Oh, that is not necessary at all. But, as the president said earlier today, there will be disruptions because, we have 9 refineries down. And again, we're working very hard with the owners of those refineries to get those refineries back up. We had the 3 pipelines that have been down. And again, they are back up. The president's has made other decisions that are very important to making sure the disruptions are as small as possible and last as short a period of time as possible. Just today, he asked that the Jones Act be waived, where we can use foreign ships to move oil and gasoline from Houston to the East Coast to make sure that the East Coast is well supplied. He's also asked for waivers by the EPA so we can use winter gas right now and again make more gasoline available, so we can use gasoline from Europe right now and again to make more gasoline available.
Now, Mr. Hubbard, you mentioned a couple of times as we've been talking about the many people who have been homeless and have jobless, and we all see that, and I think everybody's very concerned about that. What is the government going to do in terms of helping those people? Are there going to be any kind of cash assistance or some kind of financial assistance?
Again, you should talk to FEMA and to the Homeland Security folks about that and to get into those details, but this president, and I've seen him in operation this week, he is doing everything in his power. He's making decisions on the spot to do everything he can to assist these people in restoring their lives to normalcy. Obviously, that can't happen overnight. I mean, there were thousands of homes wiped away. The floods in New Orleans are going to take a long time to deal with. But the president's committed to doing everything possible to assist these people and to help them return to their normal lives.
And how about with businesses like the airlines that were vulnerable even before Katrina? Is the government considering any kind of aid for the airline industry?
Again, the economy overall remains very, very strong. We are, without question, the fastest growing economy of any developed country in the world. We have very low inflation. We have very low unemployment. We've produced over 4 million jobs in the last two plus years, and there's nothing to suggest that the economy is not going to continue to grow and continue to prosper, and that we're not on a sustainable basis, just like we were before Katrina. You know, there's no question there are additional challenges to businesses, but I'm confident these businesses will respond positively and will continue to prosper.
All right. Well, we're going to have to leave it there. Mr. Hubbard, thank you very much for speaking with Nightly Business Report.
Thank you very much.
It looks like General Motors' employee discount for everyone program worked so well that it actually hurt sales last month. Car and truck sales fell 13% in August. GM says blockbuster sales in June and July, driven by employee discounts, left its dealers with extremely tight inventories and few cars to sell. Ford Motor posted a 6% sales gain last month thanks to its family plan incentives, but expects weaker September sales as inventories run out. Daimler Chrysler also posted a sales gain in its American Chrysler unit, up 5%, as 187,000 cars and trucks left dealer showrooms. But all three say that Katrina trimmed sales in the Southeast during the last days of August. They admit, Paul, that it's going to be harder to predict her impact on future sales.
Well, Susie, GM was among the most actives on the big board, and we'll see it as we look at our stocks in the news tonight. The most active big board issue on nearly 23 million shares. ExxonMobil moving up $1.78 on those soaring gasoline prices. Exxon also said it plans to borrow 6 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. General Electric down 47 cents, Pfizer 17-cent drop. There you see GM losing $1.22 on those slacking sales. But meanwhile, Kirk Kerkorian's Trescinda Corporation said it wants to buy another 13.1 million shares of GM. That's 2.3%, and that would lift Trescinda's stake to 9.5%. Valero Energy up $3 a share. Company says that its Louisiana refinery should be operative within 2 weeks. And then we see Walmart stores edging up 4 cents. The company had a 3.3% rise in same-store sales in August, although that was at the low end of expectations. Motorola, 32-cent gain. Citigroup down 6 cents. Time Warner dropped a penny. 10th in volume was Ford Motor, losing 24 cents a share. 7-Eleven, one of the stars of the day, up $6.32. Japan 7 & I Holdings Company, the largest retailer in Japan, is offering to buy the 27.3% of 7-Eleven that it doesn't already own, and it's willing to pay $32.50 a share in cash. That would be about $1 billion. United States Steel up $1.74. UBS brokerage upgraded it from reduced to neutral because it sees near-term risks starting to ease for the steel industry. Newmont Mining, the granddaddy of the golds, up $1.35. Recent whiff of inflation helping gold move higher. The New York December gold up $8.40 today at $446.50 the ounce. ConocoPhillips up $3.06. Lehman Brothers upgraded it from equal weight to overweight, did the same thing with Sunoco, and the Sunoco stock jumped $5.34 to $78.04. TXU up $6.70. Citigroup has upgraded it from hold to a buy. The Limited down nearly $1, and August same-store sales fell 3%. The street was expecting a drop of only about 1.1%. Chicago Mercantile Exchange stock up $23.53. Company says yesterday was the most active trading day in its history. Freddie Mac down $2.41. First half earnings dropped to $2.22, down 60% from a year ago, and way off the estimate on Wall Street, which is $3.71 a share. MDS Incorporated up $1.98. This is a drug development firm, and it announced a restructuring which will include the elimination of 500 jobs. Pioneer Natural Resources up $4.29. The company will buy back up to $1 billion of its own stock, and it's boosting the dividend by 20% from 20 to 24 cents on an annual basis. Microsoft topped the active list for the third day running, down 18 cents. Then the big gainer, Chiron, up $6.49. Novartis is offering to buy the 58% it doesn't already own and will pay $40 a share cash. Looks like that bid might be sweetened. Intel, 46-cent drop. Google up 25 cents. Cisco, a 3-cent gain. That was fifth in volume. Research in Motion up $2.22. Oracle, 32-cent gain. eBay fell 55 cents. Apple Computer down 63 cents. And Applied Materials, 10th in dollar volume, a loss of 59 cents. BB Stores down $5.57. That's almost a 24% loss. August same-store sales were up 17%, but the company was expected to post 21.4% rise in sales. Also, it cut its first quarter sales projections. Those are the stocks in the news tonight. Susie?
Thank you, Paul. Back now to our top story, Hurricane Katrina. In the short term, the work is clear-cut on handling the aftermath of the storm, rescue, and recovery. In the longer term, though, the work will focus on rebuilding. And as Darren Gersh reports, that's going to be a long and expensive process.
After the water is drained away, the years or decades of hard work will begin. New Orleans will rebuild, but the new city is likely to be a very different one.
I don't think this is simply a 2 or 3-quarter, 9 months, or 2-year project where you're simply going to rebuild the same building on the same property that you had before. I don't think that's going to be feasible simply because the safety concerns are so high. You cannot have a hurricane like this come through every 20 years and have this kind of an impact.
At a minimum, levees will be modernized with homes cleared from high danger areas. And new building standards may be strengthened as they were in Florida after Hurricane Andrew. That could mean coastal and riverboat casinos, which make up some 5% of the region's economy, may take more time to restore if insurance companies and local officials demand safety and engineering upgrades.
They're not going to be rebuilt, perhaps not in the same spot, but certainly not with the same technology you used to build them in the first place. They will become more expensive to build.
The financial system will also be reshaped in the process. In the short run, bank regulators say there is little risk of insolvency.
History tells us that there has been no bank failures because of natural disasters.
But in the long run, the region's 152 banks will be forced to write off losses and then decide which homes and businesses should be rebuilt.
They'll, in my view, will extend the credit and have the capital necessary to rebuild their communities, to rebuild their city. That's good business. They'll take probably a little bit more risk than they have in the past, but some of that risk may be subsidized in the form of some government guarantees or aids or state grants.
But the unanswerable question is how many people will return to reclaim their old lives.
People believe that their prospects of being gainfully reemployed very quickly are not very good. They're going to move out with friends and relatives and perhaps try to find jobs elsewhere. Some percentage of those folks may never go back, or it may be years before they go back.
Optimists believe a new, improved city will rise again here. A hopeful thought amid so much suffering. Darren Gersh, Nightly Business Report, Washington.
Tomorrow, our Friday Market Monitor guest is Robert Stovall, Managing Director and Strategist at Wood Asset Management.
Here's a look now at what's happening tomorrow. Just one report on the calendar, and it's an important one, the August employment report. Tonight's commentator looks at the good, the bad, and the ugly of corporate leaders. Here's Myron Kandel, founding financial editor at CNN.
The title of my commentary is Nice Guys Can Finish First. I'm convinced those kind of people, and I include women, of course, will be the most successful leaders in business and other fields. I've always resented the articles that used to appear in Fortune listing the 10 toughest bosses in America. Articles that implied you had to be an SOB to make it big. Sure, that is true in many cases, and I bet we can all name some, but I disagree with the premise. In fact, I think the opposite is true. Nice guys will be the winners of the future. There isn't an exact definition of nice. My Webster's Unabridged includes such terms as good, kind, considerate, and tactful. And being nice doesn't preclude being tough or demanding. You don't succeed by being a patsy. But you can succeed by creating a corporate culture that encourages teamwork, cares about people, recognizes hard work, and shares success. And above all, one that's fair. Any leader who does that will be able to attract, motivate, and retain talented colleagues who will make the organization a winner, and by the way, will make him or her look very good. That culture will become more and more important in the future as the baby boom generation leaves the workforce, and good people then become hard to find and keep. Therefore, take it from me, nice guys not only can, but will finish first. I'm Myron Kandel.
Recapping today's market action, the blue chips end lower. The Dow fell almost 22 points, while the Nasdaq slipped 4 points. To learn more about the stories in tonight's broadcast, go to NBR.com.
And that's Nightly Business Report for Thursday, September 1st. I'm Susie Garup. Good night, everyone. Good night to you, Paul.
Good night, Susie. I'm Paul Kangas, wishing all of you the best of goodbyes.
Nightly Business Report is made possible by...
Don't let your nest egg get away from you. Objective financial advice can help. A.G. Edwards, for 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
Franklin Templeton Investments, providing a unique perspective through the specialized investment expertise of Franklin Templeton Mutual Series and Fiduciary Trust. Franklin Templeton Investments, gain from our perspective. This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you. For more information about investing, you may order Nightly Business Report's home video, The NBR Guide to Buying Bonds. This program is available in either the VHS or DVD formats.
We are PBS.
Funding for local broadcast